All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. We've got a good group so far, and I expect a few additional students to come in. My name is Brinkman. If you are interested in the MS Entrepreneurship program, there's a good chance you've spoken to me at some point throughout the last few months. I oversee recruiting and advising for the Masters in Entrepreneurship program here at CU Denver's Business School, located right in the heart of the Jake Jobs Center for Entrepreneurship. It's an exciting place to be. I'm very, very excited to talk with you all today, share a few thoughts and insights into the Masters of Entrepreneurship program, go over our application, go over the courses, go over the curriculum at large, few scholarship information, experiential education, lots and lots of stuff. But what I'm most excited about is that we have two current students who are joining us to talk about their experiences in the program, answer a few of my questions, as well as answer some of your questions as the conversation goes forward. So I'm very, very excited for them to be here. I will introduce them here shortly. For everyone who is here, I just want to go through kind of what we're going to talk about today. So what you can anticipate learning about today is an overview of the Jake Jobs Center for Entrepreneurship, as well as CU Denver and the benefits of going to school here. You're going to hear from our student ambassadors, as I noted. We're going to talk through the Masters of Entrepreneurship program structure, as well as the curriculum breakdown. Talk through the certificates that we offer, which offers a little bit of an alternative pathway for a student to go through their graduate level education, while also allowing students who are in the midst of a graduate level education to have a few clear checkpoints to hurdle as they're going through the program. We're also going to talk about the program goals, what we offer, what we look for from entrepreneurship students so that you can feel best prepared. What we think of when we look at experiential learning, what we mean by that, and why that is so essential for studying entrepreneurship. Some networking and mentorship opportunities that can complement that experiential learning component to the program and give you more access to the larger business world here in Denver. Tuition and scholarships, so you have an idea about what to anticipate from a financial standpoint, as well as any assistant out there. An overview of our application, testimonials from current and former students, as well as a Q&A session at the end in case any questions went unanswered, in case you have specific thoughts or questions about the program. By all means, you will be able to ask them to both me as well as to our student ambassadors. The webinar should take about 30 to 45 minutes, so we should have some time at the end to go ahead and get some questions answered if there's anything lingering. In addition, if you don't get a question answered, I will post my contact information twice during the webinar, so feel free to go ahead and take a screenshot of that. I'm also happy to send out these slides to interested students, so you're able to assess more information. And in addition, like I said, with my contact info, I am more than happy to answer any questions that you have on an independent basis. That said, let us jump into one of the more exciting aspects of today's webinar. We're going to hear from two of our current students, Castillo and Tuneishia Harris. Both students are currently on track to graduate in the summer of 2025. However, and I will go over this as we go through the webinar, there's a non-fixed date for students graduating, and one of the cool things about this program is you can speed it up, you can take it a little bit longer, you can really adjust it throughout the program as needed. But currently, both students are in the midst of their program. They both have been highly competitive in our experiential studies components. They both have been excellent within their classes, and I can't wait to hear their thoughts on the program. I've only sent them questions. I have not been prepped by their answers. So you guys will get full in the moment, in the zone. So I'm going to bring them on camera here in a second, and we're going to hear from them. All right, Mag, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Thank you so much for joining us. Tuneishia, how are you today?
Better than amazing. Glad to be here.
We are so glad to have both of you here. Thank you guys for taking time out of your schedules while you're both in school, as well as working, as well as everything that you've got going on in your personal lives. I know that you both are very busy. So I really, really thank you guys for taking some time here to share your thoughts and experiences with students who are thinking about our program. We're going to dive into a bunch of questions, but I just want to hear really quick. Tuneishia, I'll start with you. Give us a quick intro. Who are you? What drew you to the Masters of Entrepreneurship program, and kind of where are you at in your career at this point in time?
Tanisha Harris, and I am a mother of an 18-year-old, soon to be sophomore in college. I decided to be a part of the Masters in Entrepreneurship because I am an entrepreneur. I'm a mompreneur. And I just felt that, like, after having a conversation with the advisors, that it was a great fit because of what I'm doing in community, where I'm looking to take my business and just to help me grow and become a better businesswoman, a better person all around. So looking at the way that the program was structured and like how you could structure it for yourself, the individual, I was like, well, this works for me because I have a lot of things happening. I have life in. And so it just ended up working out better for me. And I'm glad that I did it.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tuneishia. And for anyone out there who is in a similar boat, a parent with a full-time job, thinking, "Can I go back to school?" Tuneishia is living, breathing example that is totally possible. And we will get into details about the flexibility, the adaptability of the program to try to make this fit anyone's schedule. Before we do that, Mag, tell us a little about yourself. Tell us what led you to choose the MS Entrepreneurship program.
Yeah, so my name is Magdiel, but Mag for short. And as Tuneishia, I'm also an entrepreneur. I had a catering business for 4 years up until the time I was kind of at a point where I didn't really know, how to grow my business or what to do with my business. So I decided to go back to school, and I came back to get my MBA for one semester. But even in that, like, it just felt a little bit, I was out of place, you know what I mean? And I just didn't want to waste it. Like, even though I love my undergrad, I went to CU for audio engineering and music business. A lot of it, I always kind of regret it. And this time I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna go for something, it's either gotta be for a lot of money or something that's very relatable to me. And even in those classes, it's like, okay, well, you got to take this accounting class, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I was already, just reconsidering, like, okay, what am I doing? Because even in those classes, I would feel, just not in place. You know what I mean? Like, everybody has big corporate jobs. Everybody, I felt like I was not anywhere near to where anybody was in the MBA program. And then I happened to go to an entrepreneurship event, and I met Mr. Brian, showed me a pamphlet. The first thing to me was every single class, even if they were required, I was happy to take. Like, all of them are classes that I would want to take, whether, what I mean? I wish I could take them all, maybe I will, if I get some more money to invest in it, because even though they're not required and it's super cool and flexible, you could pick, what I mean? Maybe some that, like, okay, I don't have to worry about that because I pay a person to do that. Or, that's a big hole in my game. I should take 4 finance classes or something like that. But just even if I had to take them all classes sounded amazing just off the rip. I'm like, I don't know which ones I would, it's hard to decide which ones you don't want to take. It's like, I only get to take 10, you know what I mean? Like, can I add some more? So, that was really the main thing where I was like, okay, over there, I'm taking like 5 classes that, like, looking at the whole thing that aren't relevant to me. I already pay an accountant. I know I need to learn it, but it's just, that was the main thing for me choosing the program, was really, first look, everything looked like something that was relatable to me as an entrepreneur.
I love that. Yeah, and I appreciate. We'll get into some of your favorite classes here as we move through this, but you're absolutely right. We'll talk more about it. But the one thing to think about as a student out there when you're thinking about going back to school, a lot of master's degree programs say you have to take these 4 to 5 classes before you can take anything that you want to take. As a student in entrepreneurship, perhaps the hardest choice is what classes am I not going to take because I simply don't have time for it all. And it ends up being really fun conversations between me and students as we plan out who are you, where are your skill gaps, what are you looking to take the next level with, and how do we plan out a schedule that works for you. So we're going to talk about all of this going forward. I want to give you all out there just a little bit of an overview of the CU Denver Business School and why we think that this is a great school. And I want to give Mag and Tuneishia some time to share their thoughts as well. Quickly, this is the only premier urban research campus located in the heart of downtown Denver. So this is not CU Denver located on the outskirts or CU Denver located in a suburb. This is right in the heart of downtown. Here in the business school, I walk outside and we are kitty corner to a number of Fortune 500 companies. We have a number of entrepreneurs in the area that work with us, a lot of relationships for company visits, for internship opportunities. So you're right here, you're right located in the heart. We're AACSB accredited, highest level of global accreditation. This is one of the top 5% business schools worldwide. And we're the most diverse research institute in Colorado. 49% of our students are first generation, our first year students, I should say. 42% of the total student body are students of color. 8% of our students are active duty military personnel or veterans, and 7% are international students. Why does this matter? You have a diverse panel of thought and experience among students within this program, expanding the overall reach and the overall ideas of you as a student. Going to school at CU Denver is very much like being a part of larger society where there's a lot of people with different backgrounds, with different life experiences, with different perspectives that can all help to shape and enrich your overall education. And then finally, Denver is, in recent reports here, we're being considered the #2 best place to live, according to U.S. News and World Report, and the #6 best place to start a business as recently as 2022. And that only continues to grow even as the downtown area rebounds post-pandemic. Mag, let me throw it to you really quick. From your perspective, how does the location of the business school kind of help set the program apart?
Well, as somebody that, like I said, I had gotten my undergrad at CU, I really like the flexibility that is like it's right there, walking distance to the campus. So if you know what I mean, like me, I like to use the amenities. I like to go to the gym and stuff, or sometimes I park there and walk over there, you know what I mean? But some days you don't want to go into campus, you know, and I like that every day is like, okay, today I'm just gonna park right here real quick and go into my class and get out of there. But a lot of the times, like I still like that it's close enough because I would show up like an hour early, you know, go to the gym and everything, just walk over there. But yeah, to me it's super cool, you know, that it's like right downtown. I'll be honest, like I don't really ever, you know, like go out much or like, you know, go to even like to restaurants or anything like that. I'm sure I need to take more advantage of that. I do love that it's like literally right next to the Comedy Works, and I'm always like, when I get out of class, I need to go to a comedy show. I need to start, you know. So that's always in my radar, you know, every time I go out, but I haven't exercised that yet. But yeah, I really like how it's, you know, like school adjacent, you know, and at first I was a little, you know, worried about that. I'm like, hold on, so is it on campus? Is it not on campus? But, you know, to me, it's like a 5-minute skateboard ride. So it's super cool. You know, I get to go to the library, you know, I get to use all the school amenities. But as I mentioned, if you don't necessarily want to be on campus every day, you don't have to.
Tuneishia, any thoughts on the location?
I personally like the location just because I live very far out. And so it's always like another way for me to like get away. Like I feel like I am in another space and place. I am far out in Aurora, the outskirts of Aurora. And so getting to drive in, I get to collect my thoughts, be one with myself. So I kind of take advantage of that. And then when I'm downtown, I just think of like, so Max talked about Comedy Works. I always see that, but it's always like, ooh, what restaurant? Or like, it's a nice day out, especially like when it started to get warmer. It's like, let me take that walk. And so I did walk across to the main campus. Actually, I walked with Brian one day to the main campus. And so I just enjoyed that. It brings me peace. I think it's a great location, and you just get to see new, interesting like spaces and places that you didn't know. And then just being on campus as a whole, you get to interact with the different students and the different people that are on campus.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, you get because we're in the business school, we're just across Spear from the main campus. So the main campus is attached to where we're at. It gives you that campus vibe if you want to go over there and use the library, use the facilities, like Mag was saying. It's a very nice, peaceful area. But then you turn around and, oh my goodness, like the skyscrapers are right there. The business school is right there. And the business school, if you cross Spear, is right next to a ton of different corporations and large buildings where there are a lot of companies that we have relationships with. So I appreciate you guys sharing all that. Zeroing in on the Jake Jobs Center for Entrepreneurship, which I'm in our main conference room right now. Just to the left of me is our incubator center for students to work on business pitch ideas, group projects, whatnot. This center was founded in 1996 as the Bard Center. It was renamed in 2013 following a $12 million gift from Mr. Jake Jobs of American Furniture Warehouse fame. This is an academic department and resource center. This is here to foster entrepreneurship at CU Denver. We develop relationships with local business leaders, provide opportunities and support for entrepreneurship students. More on that later. We offer the climb as well as other experiential events to drive forward your overall entrepreneurial studies. The goal of this center is not just education, but it's experiential education. It's putting you as a student in a position where you're able to really make decisions and learn in the moment by doing. Quick bit about myself. So I am the program manager for recruitment and advising. I have over a decade of experience at this point in time in undergraduate and graduate recruitment and advising, both on the international side, as well as in third-party providers, as well as in online education, as well as here with entrepreneurial master's degree education. I've seen a lot of non-traditional educational opportunities for students come to fruition, and I'm very, very excited to be continuing to launch this program. My contact info is right on the page here. I will pause for a second to let you all take a picture of that so that if you want to get in touch with me, if we have not yet spoken, or if you have additional questions, do not hesitate to go ahead and reach out. All right, and I'll put that on once again, just in case anyone is fumbling for their phone. I'll keep it up here for just a couple more seconds. All right. So let's dive into an overview here of the Masters of Entrepreneurship program. And I'm going to have some questions here for Mag and Tuneishia so that they're able to share their overall thoughts. But just in quick overview of the program. This is a fully customizable 30-credit curriculum. What that means is you're able to choose up to any 10 courses in entrepreneurship, which align with your interests, your goals, as well as your knowledge gaps. Those three things I advise all students to consider as they come in for their degree planning call. What are you interested in within entrepreneurship? If you're interested in healthcare, we have a healthcare innovation class. If you're not interested in healthcare, there's no reason that you would need to take that class. It's literally there just for students who are interested in that. Your goals, what are you trying to accomplish out of this? Are you trying to gain further work experience? Are you trying to network? Are you trying to meet new people? Great, we host a lot of events. We have a lot of experiential opportunities for you to do that. Are you trying to test out a business idea? Perfect, we have a class for that. Do you have questions about your ability to run a business while also being in charge of the finances for that business? We have a class for that as well. And then knowledge gaps, kind of similar in that sort of standpoint, giving you as a student the opportunity to really think in terms of, what do I know? What do I not know? What do I need to be a stronger entrepreneur? Diverse range of courses are listed here. They all focus on small business. So we can think of a Masters of Entrepreneurship almost like a small business MBA. Finance and accounting, fintech and blockchain, giving you revolutionary ideas within the world of finance and within the world of tech. Visionary leadership and business development, bioinnovation, lean marketing. These are just scratching the surface of classes that we offer for students. And then, like I said, the experiential component to the program is essential and a huge part of student success. We're going to talk a bit about the climb here in a second, but the climb is a huge opportunity. The Rut Bridges Venture Fund, where you get to work in an actual venture fund, investing in real companies here in Denver. Mentorship opportunities with local entrepreneurs, as well as, like I said, taking internships for credit. All of this is essential here for you. In terms of the overall program structure, like I said, it's customizable, 30 credits, which means three credits per class, so 10 classes. You take any of these in any order that you choose. The method and the timing, we're going to get into this in a second, but that is kind of TBD based on your own availability, based on what you're able to handle, and based on if you're able to do classes both in person as well as online. We'll get thoughts from Tuneishia and Mag on that overall structure. Classes are offered, like I said, online, in person, giving you the opportunity to take classes from the comfort of your own home. You could complete the entire program remotely online within 1 year. So just know that there's a ton of flexibility already available for you. But if you want to be in person, have a little bit more of a relationship with your professor and other students, you have that ability as well. It's stackable. What that means is that we take your interests and we build a program around it. We're not building you around a program. We're taking what you want to do and we're building a program around that. Experiential opportunities, once again, the climb is huge. And the dual degree opportunities are offered with information systems. And finally, from an undergraduate standpoint, if you are a CU Denver undergrad, you have the ability to take our 4+1 program, which allows you the chance to get a bachelor's and a master's degree within 5 years. Tuneishia, I want to just turn to you quickly. From a flexibility standpoint, that's a huge selling point that I seem to hear from a lot of students. How has that affected you as a student, going back to school and knowing that you can decide when you go to class, how you go to class, how many classes you take? How does that impact your life as a student?
It has been freaking amazing because I work in community and have my own nonprofit and for-profit and a student in college. The ability to create my own curriculum has been a lifesaver. I would say that I talk about peace a lot. My peace is my joy. And so to be able to have it the way that I need it in order to be successful is perfect. There are other curriculums that I had looked at, and it was very intense. And so it was either like you have to be in person, there's no other way around it. They won't work with you. So if you were out of state, it was basically like this may be the perfect program for you when you're looking at it, but I'm out of state. And so here, where you get to do online and in person and then stack it the way you want, it just makes for like the person who is going back to school, whatever you have going on in your life, it makes it easier. And I did very well. I'm in my second second semester,
Yeah.
and I had a 4.0. I'm smiling because it worked for me. What was for me was for me, and then I was able to show up the way that I needed to, and understand that life happens. So like you can talk to your professors, but being able to create that curriculum, what's going to work for you is awesome. I also looked at the dual degree option. I wanted to create something else. So I ended up just not doing the dual degree. But the fact that you can do that and the way that they have it set up, it's a win-win.
And that's something that we're continue to expand as well for students. So thank you. That's really helpful. Let me ask you really quick before I throw it to Mag. What are your thoughts on the online versus in-person classes? Does it help you to have that choice? Do you like that variety? How does that affect you?
I like both. I like the in-person because you get to meet your classmates. You get to interact with them. You get to talk with them. You get to hear like the highs and the lows and just share experiences. It's also that support so you don't feel alone. And then in those moments where you're like, look, I cannot get on campus because I got a lot going on. I need to cook dinner. And so like being away from the house right now is not going to be helpful towards me. I can still take this class online, still be present, and still do all the things that I need to do within the home. Or if you need to be home because something else that you have to do is closer, you don't feel like you're being stretched and pulled outside of your comfort zone where you gotta make a decision of like, oh, I'm gonna miss this class tonight. No, you got the online, but the in-person just it gives you that sense of community. You get it online too, but there's just something about seeing the people in person. Like I got to meet Mags, like he's a dope soul. And so I'm glad that I had that in-person experience because you just never know who you're gonna meet, how they're gonna impact your life, and just the beautiful, fruitful relationships that you're going to gain from it.
Love that. I love that. Mag, what are your thoughts in terms of both the flexibility as well as that online versus in-person component,
As well as what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
as well as the online versus in-person component?
Yeah, well, I think the flexibility, the way that I feel like it's benefited me is in the, I think is what you call the stackable, meaning that like not prerequisites and things like that. Because like I mentioned, sometimes when we're coming up with a degree plan, um, there might have been a class or something that like I would have had to wait or something. So it just depends. It's like, okay, you can, wait for the fall or spring ones, or it's like, well, I you know what I mean? It's like since I mentioned all the classes look amazing, I'd be like, okay, well, if I'm trying to finish fast as I am, then you could just, okay, I could just get that one and that one. You don't necessarily, it's like, okay, well, if you don't get in this one this semester, then you got to wait or all this stuff. So that's how I thought it was good. Cause then we just structured it to where I'm like, okay, well, I just want to structure it to where I'm done at this time, you know what I mean? And I think that, that's pretty much how I've benefited of the flexibility of it. And as far as the online and in person, like she mentioned, like I'm more of an old school guy. I feel like I kind of want to be in the class too, or at least I think so. But then, when it starts or in the winter time, then, this last semester we had some hybrid classes to where, sometimes you meet in person, sometimes. So even in the in-person ones, sometimes it's hybrid. And yeah, like sometimes you're just grateful. You're like, oh my God, I'm glad I don't have to go this week, just because it's snowing or something like that. And that will make you see like, okay, maybe online isn't that bad. But for me, I always try to do it to where I'm at least doing one in person, one online. Because like I mentioned, to me, part of the benefit of being in school is taking advantage of all the other things the school has to offer. Because like if I'm kind of closer. If I was far like Tuneishia, I would definitely, I think, also, do it more online or something like that. But since I'm close, I always say like, oh well, I'm probably go to the gym more often or something like that, which never happens. But that's the intention. So yeah, I like that it's still offer both because I feel like for me in the spring I want to be there. In the fall where it starts snowing and stuff, I'll probably do more online.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. And I think you speak, just really clearly, both of you, to the flexibility aspect of it and the fact that we really want to make this program work within your overall schedule. So we'll keep talking about that. One thing I do want to highlight for students out there is the entrepreneurship certificate. This is an opportunity for you to test out the program as well as for you to get accomplishments throughout it. So the goal of this, it's 3 courses that equals 1 certificate. This can be earned at both the undergraduate and the graduate level. Speaking just primarily of the graduate level one, the emphasis here is trialability. This is not, you're not required to be registered in a master's program. This is a non-degree option. But for every single student who's in the master's in entrepreneurship program, once you've taken 3 classes, you are automatically eligible to receive a certificate. So it's a great way to tell people, on LinkedIn, hey, I just got admitted to this Master's of Entrepreneurship program. You take 3 classes in that first semester. Hey, not only did I enroll in this Master's of Entrepreneurship program, not only do I have graduation set for the state, but I just got a certificate at the master's level. So it's a way to promote yourself, showcase that you're doing stuff, and have bite-sized goals along the way, which is really essential for success with entrepreneurship. This allows you to incorporate electives that can expand the program, provide avenues for students to focus on what they want to study, things like bioinnovation, international business, gives you a ton of options here. In terms of the full program, and this also goes with this certificate, but from a curriculum standpoint, there are 10 courses across 30 credits, as I've noticed. Classes like concept development and business model development, high impact sales for entrepreneurs, leadership and new ventures, personal branding, and blockchain and innovation, a very diverse grouping of classes here. There are study abroad options in both Cuba and Barcelona where you can go overseas for about 2 weeks and come back with 3 credits. No prerequisites. So you tell me what classes you want to take. We work those into your overall schedule. I'll advise you on what I think are the best classes to take based on your larger goals. But ultimately, you decide what you want to take. And I do just want to just pause really quick and mention Mag said something really good. Tuneishia did as well, just with regards to how to think about this program from a flexibility standpoint. Mag mentioned, I knew when I wanted to graduate, and then you work backwards from there. That's a really great way to think about it as a student. It's a conversation I usually have with students during the degree planning phase. And this corresponds with the idea of no prerequisites, because at no point will we say, hey, you have to take these 3 classes before you take these, and those classes are either full or it doesn't work within your schedule, and so now you got to work all that out. You basically come to me and say, hey, I want to graduate by spring 2026. How do we make that happen? And we'll draw up a degree plan, show you kind of what your options are, so that you know not only how long this program is going to take, but also what do I need to do to get there. And in this program, just kind of based on everything we've said here, this is designed for working professionals, self-paced, online, plus hybrid, plus in person. If you are a working professional who's like, I have no time in my life for school, I promise you, we can make time in your life for this master's program. And then internship options, we're going to talk about this here shortly, but you are able to do 2 internships for credit within the program. So you get work experience, networking experience, and 4 credit experience. And then most people will complete this program within 1 to 5 years. 5 years is the absolute limit of what we are allowed to have students go to school for. Most students are right around that 2-ish year range. Mag, really quick, tell me some of your favorite classes that you've taken in the program so far.
Well, it's also my first semester that I just finished, and I've only taken, I don't know the proper names. I know everything we learned, but personal branding, and then was it business model development?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I can't even pick between those 2. You know what I mean? Like they were. I don't want to over exaggerate. I don't want people to think like, okay, these guys are like on the clock or something. Like it's. I feel like if you're really an entrepreneur, or if that's what you're really gonna do, it just makes, because I don't know if you've mentioned it before, but I believe that you guys talk about there's no other program like this in the state, I believe. And I didn't even know that there was a master's in entrepreneurship. I didn't even know that that was a field of study I could go. But even like as you speak, you know, to all the flexibility and all that, I think that really like kind of shows like on the respect of, you know, the entrepreneur, you know what I mean? That we kind of already deciding our own journey and we know what we need more rather than preparing us for a job. Because I always kind of feel insulted at most things because I'm a diehard entrepreneur. I always knew that this was what I was going to do. So but I value education too. But I feel like, again, most of education is just about preparing you for a job. So I always hated that. And this is not preparing you for a job at all. You know what I mean? This is like, I like that it's like very open. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you know, this is 3 classes. If that's all you want to get, we give you something for that. I don't want to say it's very transactional, but hey, we're learning entrepreneurship, we're learning business, and we're practicing it even with the school. You know, it's not like a whole like lie behind it that like, okay, you're doing this for something better is going to pay off. It's like, no, this is paying off right now. Here, you're giving us this, we're giving you this right back. So to me, it just speaks to, you know, the respect of like, we're entrepreneurs. And I think I might have gotten carried off a little bit. But what was the original question on that? Because I wanted to go somewhere when I was describing that. Oh, my favorite classes. Yes, yeah. Even in that, like I said, I've been through college, you know, even in the music thing where I found some people that like, you know what I mean, that they were my friends, but that was like through like 4 years. The first year that we went in, I think Tuneishia could agree, like that first class that we took, you know, I've never like felt so at home with so many, you know, other people that are all trying to be entrepreneurs, you know, and that's something cool. Cause like I said, my 1 semester in MBA, I felt so out of place when people are like talking about working for finance companies and doing this. And I've never had a job outside of the kitchen, you know what I mean? Other than like jobs I created for myself. So yeah, I think that if you're an entrepreneur, you're just going to really feel like it's something that's going to benefit you in the long run. You know what I mean? So both classes literally right out the gate, the knowledge that I was taking there, I was going home and applying it that same night. You know, it wasn't something abstract that like, okay, we're building the fundamentals so that one day you like, you know, the wax on, wax off stuff, which I appreciate. But at the level that we're at, I think at this point, or even as a starting entrepreneur, I don't think it makes sense, you know, to put you through all that. So yeah, like even in the business development class, I'm still using the template that I got in this class to work on my business plan. You know what I mean? And everything that I learned there, I go and apply it to my business. So, you know, out of personal branding and business model development, I can't pick. The professors, you know, I can't pick between Jung or MP. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I might have. I don't want to think that. I'm like, I don't know if I took the two best ones coming in or something, or if every class is just going to continue to be that great. But they were amazing. You know, coming off the rip, they were great.
You took two very good classes. You're absolutely right. Tuneishia, any favorites for you as you're in your second semester here?
I mean, I took mission-driven entrepreneurship, lean marketing, and personal branding, and all three of them like fed my soul, like literally. So I would say like each of them are my favorite in their own right because of what I've learned from them and like how much better of an entrepreneur and understanding like what I want from my business. Personal branding really, it was the way Professor Jung was able to just navigate, facilitate that class that just, I don't know if I've experienced that in other programs. You hear personal branding, and I think sometimes you have this idea of what personal branding means, like you as an individual, but it's so much deeper. And so I came out of that class for one, wanting more. And not because he didn't do what he was supposed to do. He did that and more. I was like, I would retake this class again and again, just because of his way of having you unpack yourself. And I don't want to give it away because you got to experience it. Hopefully you all will take it. But personal branding just it changed, it shifted my mindset in a way that I didn't know that I needed. And I thought I was pretty good, but I'm much better now. So, and then mission-driven entrepreneurship, my for-profit and my nonprofit, it is social enterprise. And so just being able to be a part of that class and understand like mission-driven, what that means and how to bring everything together was very powerful. We got to work on creating like improving our mission, improving what it was for our organization, which I don't necessarily, like Max said, some of it is just like you're building this foundation, but you won't be able to use it until years down the line because it's like, look, young butterfly, you're not ready yet. You're not ready for all the beautiful things that, and it's like, no, you're ready now. You're an entrepreneur. You've started this business, or if you have an idea, here is here's the meat and potatoes of how. And then lean marketing, it was just explaining like, how do you push your business forward without all of the extra stuff? How do you simplify it, lean it up, and it still be impactful and powerful? I don't know, just all of them were great. Created a business in lean marketing, another one that is also in alignment with all that I am, which is my organization. I just thought it was, I don't know, take them all, y'all. Like if you can take them. If it sounds interesting to you, take it because there's a reason that you're being led to it, and it's gonna grow you, and you're gonna become better, and you're gonna have better relationships. And then the professors are there to work with you. I know Max can account for that with John, just in your corner and supporting and providing the feedback just to help you become better overall. So I can't really pick, but personal branding really just did something different for me.
Yeah, he's a special professor, and it's an important class. You're absolutely right. It's one of those subjects that I think can be mischaracterized as fluff and as kind of soft skills. Who are you? What's your brand? But the way that Jung teaches it really kind of raises your confidence and makes you think of yourself as, something to be sold, something to be, promoted, to be marketed towards the world. You have ideas, you have a product that could really be showcased on a larger scale, in a way that, a corporate product would be as well. That's something that we don't necessarily think of ourselves in that sort of manner. And then he kind of comes in and says, hey, do you have an idea, a concept that is actually benefiting the world, or do you just think that your concept and idea is benefiting the world? And that is a really hard question that I think a lot of people in the early stage of business don't necessarily ask themselves, because it takes so much confidence and so much hype of yourself to just get to the point of starting a business. But these are very hard questions that you have to kind of ask yourself. And Jung comes from a position of great success and also huge risks that have led to failures that he's able to really position for you as a person. Who are you? What is your brand? What is your overall identity? So I appreciate you guys sharing that. I
Can
want
I
to
say
speed through.
something else?
Yeah.
Can I just share? It's a part of vulnerability, practicing vulnerability, and literally allowing yourself to take all these ideas that you have about yourself and see yourself for who you can become. But you gotta be vulnerable, and be honest with yourself. I think the honesty, sometimes we forget the honesty part, the transparency, and that is unpacked in this in a way that you didn't know you needed. Again, that it's the practice vulnerability of sharing and being honest.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
And I too, I was also gonna add something, if I may, make it super
Please
quick.
do. Please do. Yeah.
On the personal branding, and if you guys get a chance to take it, even if it's with John or somebody, but I think it's also really more, which it was like a left hook, right, to me and Tuneishia, because we thought it was something different, but that class really comes down to also just, and I think it's very important for entrepreneurs because we're so wrapped up in like trying, at least me, trying to take over the world and do everything. It gives you a second like stop and like what, happiness. He really makes it about like what is your happiness, and like he makes it look at our life in a balance sheet, like if we were looking at a business, right? It's like we look at it as like, okay, well, what are our assets and our liabilities? What makes us happy versus what makes us, in a negative state of mind, and lay it all out. And so you really get to look at it and be like, oh, okay, well, I've been focusing on this, but this paper clearly tells me that this is what brings me a lot of anger in my life, when I should focus on this. And I only do this 10% of the time, when this paper tells me this is 90% of my happiness. So I should focus all my energy on this. So it was just a very different approach to just looking at your life, really, more than, I think and there's the business things that, yeah, I could take them and apply them now to any brand, but I think it was just also more refreshing to just, I'd never expected that in a class. We all came out of there as friends, as she mentions, which is weird, at least to me. I'm very antisocial. But, I just want to say that, even if you guys get the chance to check out that book, Life of Roy, right? It's Jung's book, which, as an entrepreneur, I think is very important. It was a wake up call to me because, like things in there, I see a mirrored in my life. And, I'm like, okay, I need to, maybe learn from him and learn from his experience so that I don't get to the same places. So yeah, I just want to mention that it was a very important class to me.
Love it. Thank you guys so much for sharing all that. I'm gonna let's through a few of these just because I want to make sure that I'm able to give all of you a chance to ask some questions here towards the end. So just bear with me. I'm gonna get through a couple of these slides and we'll get into a few of the specifics around the application and kind of next steps. So big reasons why we think that you should do this program. It's exclusivity. Mag said this is the only MS in entrepreneurship in Colorado. It's affordable. We have a really manageable tuition rate. We have subsidized our international and out-of-state tuitions so that students pay less than they would at our larger business school and pay more in line with in-state tuition. Plus, we have scholarships for students. Flexibility, as we've talked about here extensively, classes offered online, in-person, hybrid, and you build your own curriculum. experiential nature to the program. We want you to go beyond the classroom to learn by doing, and then a mindset shift. We want you to learn how to create growth with minimal resources. These are skills that you can apply to an existing business or to an existing company you work at, or as Mag and Tuneishia are doing, towards a business of your own. In terms of larger goals and program learning outcomes that we are looking for, we want you to cultivate an entrepreneurial mindset that allows you to think like an entrepreneur from day one. We want you to learn how to communicate effectively and lead entrepreneurially. We want you to be mission driven, regardless what that means for you. Maybe that means that you're working for a company that is trying to solve a great social issue, or maybe it means that you're simply just trying to figure out a way to sell a product a little bit more efficiently. Whatever it is, we want you to be mission driven and think of your customers as a leader within a field, and think about how to really better people's lives through entrepreneurship. We want you to capitalize on innovation. So new ideas, new concepts, new technologies are all going to be featured here. We've just introduced a class on AI and entrepreneurship. Why? AI is the big buzzword right now. AI is going around everywhere. There's so many ideas about artificial intelligence, how it's going to reshape our lives from a productivity standpoint, from a communication standpoint. We want to make sure that you all understand how to utilize that within entrepreneurship. And we want you to go beyond just theory. Classes are excellent. As Tuneishia and Mag have laid out here, classes are excellent. They offer great insights and great opportunities for you as a student, but they're just the classes. They're just the starting point. The goal is ultimately for you to be experiential and to think and do what you can with this knowledge from day one. Speaking of, experiential learning is a huge, huge aspect of our program. It's the process of learning through experience and learning it through reflection on doing. The MS in Entrepreneurship program focuses on testing out real ideas and getting real feedback from day one. We offer networking opportunities for students within the overall program, allow you to gain credit through internships, and allow you to compete in events like the Climb, as well as join student clubs like the Rep Bridges Venture Fund and mentorships with local entrepreneurs. Mag, I want to just highlight you really quickly because you were a finalist in this last year's The Climb competition. You were able to pitch a business concept in front of over 100 people, in front of 4 judges, get really valuable feedback. You even won some seed money for your business product. Tell me a little bit about how that competition was for you and how it helped you as you're growing as an entrepreneur.
And how what? I'm sorry, I didn't miss just the last sentence.
And how it's helping you grow as an entrepreneur.
Oh, got you. Yeah, no, so it was super fun for me. It was amazing. The way I see it, again, I feel like as an entrepreneur, I'm very competitive, but I go to the gym, and I train a little bit of like kickboxing, but I get jealous of the guys when they have fights coming up, they're like prepare for the fights, they train for the fights, and then like it takes over their life and stuff. And, I feel like a lot of people, and I never really have that, but with this, it was like, oh, this is my chance to go in there and compete and do what I'm good at, what I mean, in a place and kind of just see it. As soon as I saw that there was a thing, I was like, oh, okay, I'm pretty sure I could do good at that. But it was also good just to kind of like reaffirm that, like, okay, I'm kind of doing the right thing, But even as Tuneishia mentioned, the whole process, the whole way through, I took a lot of advantage, as you mentioned, of the mentorship and stuff. Professor MP, who I believe, I don't know his proper position, but I think he's like the director of the whole entrepreneurship program. He totally made himself available to me anytime, text him, as many times I wanted to meet with him on Zoom to discuss my plan, any questions, and I valued that so much. As she mentioned too, I came to Jung because Jung was actually a winner in his when he was a student, I believe. So, he also, took all the time I needed, to discuss with me and everything. So it was just good, just learning, and I really believe that it's going to help me in the future because to me, I just feel like that's just what I want to focus on, trying to be really good at anyways, which is like the sales aspect and how to sell a business and how to sell a brand and how to get people excited about my business and my brand, because even again, going back to personal branding, one time a speaker came and asked us, like, what is it that you're good at? And you have to clearly question, like, okay, well, what is it that I bring to the table as an entrepreneur? And I always thought that is like, well, it's my public speaking, it's my ability to, like, really come up with a good idea and sell it. And, this was just my opportunity to prove it. It's like, okay, well, here we go, and I came up with a whole new product. I have a wedding entertainment business, and I had just had this health drink in the back of my mind for the longest time. And I brought MP both of the ideas, and I kind of went both of them through the program and through the class. Him and the rest of the class, everybody just kind of gave me their feedback, and I decided to go with the health drink, which, as he mentioned, was a good idea because I became a finalist, and as he mentioned, I got a little award, so I was very, very grateful. So yeah, no, it was great for me, and like I said, to me, it just opened my mind that I'm like, okay, I got to do this more in this stage of my life. Look for more pitch contests, and just try to really sharpen that sword.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for that. And Tuneishia, you're gonna be on stage there next year. I know it. You got amazing ideas, and we're gonna be showcasing you next year. I want to come back to you really quickly here in the next slide because we're going to talk a bit about advisory council, our mentorship opportunities. This is a huge, huge opportunity for students. We have a large advisory council that helps our overall program run. These include some of Colorado's most recognizable entrepreneurs, innovators, as well as other industry experts. People like Joel Apple, the co-founder of OxyClean, Orange Glow, Kaboom, and Zadie's Deli, as well as Karen Hertz, the chief barista and founder of Holiday Brewing. Sam Kumar, the CEO and founder of CyberSanic. These advisory council members serve as mentors for entrepreneurship students throughout the program, and they also provide internship and networking opportunities. Tuneishia, have you had any sort of experience thus far with some of the mentors? And if so, tell us a little bit about the experiences.
So not from the three that you have listed, but there are many others. And
Yeah.
I would say at it was the pitch that was more set up like speed dating. I don't want to miss the name
Pitch
incorrectly.
market. Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah. And so we got to go around and have these conversations. For one, do our 2-minute pitch. But based on that, there were the mentors that were there that, provided feedback, but then also said, hey, we would like to talk more with you, share some ideas, or connect you with some other individuals because your idea is really great. Let's have a cup of coffee. That was really cool. And then there was the mentorship piece where you got to come into the Jig Jab Center and go around and just like ask these mentors. And I know that Joel, Mr. Apple was there where you could ask the question, share your business idea, and then ask more questions about it. I know personally, there was a woman, I didn't even know who she was, and I shared my idea. She waited for me. Everyone else was coming to talk to me, and she was getting ready to leave. And she stayed and asked me about my business and then provided me with feedback. She was like, I'm very tired. I'm getting ready to go home. And when I shared my business idea, all that I am and what I'm doing, she took off her jacket. She had put her jacket on and then she took it off and sat with me for about another 30 minutes to have this conversation, to guide me and to share with me the different organizations that I could learn from or benefit or connect or partner, and then proceeded to give me more names. And so these mentorship opportunities, I don't know if you necessarily get this in any other organization or any other program. It's intentional. And so my saying yes to this program, it just solidifies why this is the right space and the place, because outside of anything else, to have the mentorship opportunities, to have an advisory council where these individuals are invested. They get it, they see it, they understand entrepreneurship, they understand the individual and the power of networking, the power of education, the power of giving back, the power of impact. how it can change someone's life just with providing some information, I think is priceless. So yeah, that has been my experience, to sit in the room with these angel investors, these multimillionaires, probably billionaires in their own right, and for them to have these conversations with us, the up and coming, they get it and they see it, because there was a point in time where they were on the other side of where we were, and where we're trying to go. And so it just, I don't know, it's fruitful.
I
So
love that.
if
I love that.
without anything else, I would say this right here is really powerful. And I came in third place in that market pitch. And I was like, whoa, yeah,
It's a
pretty
huge
dope.
confidence boost. A huge confidence boost. I love it. All right, I'm going to jump through just a couple of things. I have a few more questions for you guys before I turn it over to our audience here. Just a little bit of insight about additional resources you have here at the Business Career Center. There are advisors within the Business Career Center here at the Business School that work exclusively with business school students. Just another opportunity for you to have resources and insights. In addition to that, this allows you to connect to the business community around Denver. There are career fairs, industry shadow days, allow you to meet with firms, develop strategies to execute larger career goals. Things like mock interviews, resume help, salary negotiations, internships, and job searches. A lot of opportunities for all current students, as well as future students, to get even further access to the larger Denver business world. And then in addition to that, from a tuition standpoint, so to give you a full breakdown of our overall tuition, our in-state tuition is $750 per credit. Out-of-state and international, these are $900 per credit. So just a little bit higher than our in-state tuition. This is subsidized to give you guys basically a scholarship as not a state international student, so that this program makes even more sense for you. There are some additional fees. I won't go into too many details, but you can see them listed here on this page. The estimated tuition cost based on where you live, how you take the program, how long it takes you to take the program, is somewhere between $23,000 and $30,000. So pretty significantly less than what you would see at a number of other MS programs, as well as a number of other MBA programs. In terms of the overall application, there's an application to fill out some information about who you are, plus some short answer questions, an updated resume, transcripts, which are needed from all institutions where credit was awarded. There's no GMAT, no GRE required for the program. References and an interview are optional from an application standpoint. Those are requested as needed by our academic team. The application fee is $50. However, for anyone who has yet to submit their application, it's at this webinar. You can go ahead and utilize the code on your way, all one word, all capitalized, on your way, so that you're able to receive a free app fee waiver from us. Now, we are coming up on the final deadline of the fall 2024 cohort. July 15th. June 15th is a misprint. July 15th is the final deadline for the program for the fall start date. Deadlines are usually about 2 months out from the start of a program. So we're getting close to the end, but there's definitely still time. Really quickly, Mag, any advice you have for a student who's working on the application?
Honestly, I really don't. I think it was very simple and straightforward from what I recall. You know, I don't think it was, again, you guys are making us jump through crazy hoops or anything like that. So I think I appreciate it. I don't believe I had much trouble actually with the application. You know, I think I just put it in and checked my email and got really excited when you guys said that, yeah, it was all good to go. So yeah, no, from my experience, you know, I think if it doesn't stick out in my mind, then it was super smooth. You know, if not, I would probably have a bad memory about it.
Well, for anyone who has questions, I'm more than available here to work with you throughout the process. Tuneishia, any thoughts, any advice you have on the application?
Just do it. Go for it. You deserve it. It's worth it. Yeah, it's not a hard application. short answers. Just be yourself. Don't overthink it, but just go for it. And you don't have to take the GRE or the GMAT. So, I mean, that is a requirement in other universities, other career programs. And so I would say jump on that as well. Less stress.
Love it. For international students, the application is very much the same. There's just a $75 fee. We do an international credential evaluation internally here at CU Denver. We need an English language proficiency exam. I recommend doing Duolingo, but TOEFL and IELTS are on the page. There's an F1 student visa that students need to apply for. As a result, the deadlines are pushed back by 2 months. So the priority deadline for international students is March 15th. Final deadline is May 15th. For anyone who is international, who is looking to go back to school, spring 2025 would be the earliest that we would work with you for that right now, and I'm more than happy to help you with that process. Spring 2025 will be here before you know it. It's hot, it's warm, it's beautiful here in Denver, but pretty soon it's going to get cold and snowy, and everyone's going to be driving up to the mountains, and that's when you'll start school. It's a great time to be in Denver as well. Just a couple more bits of information here from a scholarship standpoint. Students are eligible to receive a scholarship per entrepreneurship course on an as-needed basis. You must apply each semester to make that applicable, okay? That's something that is just very clear. I'll go over that with you as a student when you started the program, but it's something just I want to make clear to all of you. These are applied on a semester-by-semester basis. Additional scholarships are available if you search the CU Denver Business School and the Scholarship Universe portal. Our scholarship is called the Mordecai Scholarship Application. It's very straightforward. Name and CU Denver ID, current CU and transfer GPA, classes you're registering for, a short essay, and then your current status, either degree or non-degree. I'll be able to answer more questions to this if you decide to ultimately apply, but I just wanted to throw them up here so you have an idea of how easy it is to get scholarships. In terms of student testimonials, we're hearing from 2 of our great students throughout this program, but I'll just read you one. Our most recent and our initial graduate for the program, Joey Dykeman, graduated here in spring 2024. Said that one of his favorite aspects about the MS Entrepreneurship program is the hands-on experience you get in each class. It's not just regurgitating knowledge and following a textbook. It really feels like instructors care about you and want to foster your development throughout the program. You're able to bounce your ideas off fellow students and faculty members. It's a really great culture and a great place to learn. That is everything that we've got. I want to give Mag and Tuneishia one more chance. Any thoughts that you have, anything you didn't say that you want to say about the program, any notes that you would leave our attendees with?
Yeah, I would just say, again, if you're really, serious about being an entrepreneur and, you value education and you also want to get a degree and you think that that's important, I think that this is, the only program that I would consider. And, even if you haven't really started the entrepreneurship journey, I think that you'll probably avoid a lot of walls and things like that if you go through this before you get out there. I think it's good for anybody. I'm glad that I went and got the experience because to me it's a lot more relevant. I do, feel, a little bit more advanced than when other people are just thinking about it. But again, some of the things I'm like, I relate to it because I hit the same wall that they're already describing. I'm like, if I had to take this class and maybe I wouldn't have, been there. So again, I think, if you're an entrepreneur, I think it just really, everything is very relevant to what you're going to go through as an entrepreneur.
Love it. Tuneishia, any thoughts you have?
I couldn't agree more with Max. It's gonna push you, but again, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart, and you have a program right here that is going to guide you in a way where it doesn't feel overwhelming. But also, it's a thing with entrepreneurs. Sometimes you feel like you're in a silo, like you're alone, and this program allows you to be surrounded around other individuals, like-minded individuals, no matter what space and place they are in their business, just beginning or established. It allows you to bounce the ideas off. Like Joe said, what you read, it's a different experience, and you feel connected and you have a support system, so you can do it. It's basically what it is. And then you get to create how long you want to be a part of this as far as the program itself. I mean, you don't necessarily get that anywhere else, where if you want to do this in a year, you can absolutely do it. And then if in that time you realize like, hey, I need to pull back a little bit, no one's going to judge you and say, well, you said that you wanted to do this in a year and you must stick with that. No, you can pivot, and you can work it the way that it needs to be worked for you, because it's individualized. So go for it.
Love it. I love it. Well, Mag and Tuneishia, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to share your thoughts and your experience. I think this was deeply, deeply valuable for all of our prospective students here. My contact info is once again on the page. I'm going to hold the room for just, if we have one or two questions. I know we're running up against time. If there's any questions, don't hesitate to throw them in the chat here. Actually, Claire, I see you got a question. I'm just going to unmute you and let you ask it. Claire,
Okay,
able to
thank
hear?
you. And
Hey,
yeah,
Claire.
can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, well, thank you guys all so much for all your information. Like that was so helpful. Um, I am actually here pursuing a certificate, so one of the non-degree routes. And I was actually kind of curious about whether or not all the opportunities that you guys listed were open to non-degree students, because I'm pretty sure in my status right now, I'm not sure if I even have access to like the Jake Jabs building or anything. So I was wondering if like non-degree students could also do the abroad program and like things like that.
Yeah, so I can answer that one. So all the opportunities from experiential standpoint are available and open to students who are taking the certificate. From an access standpoint to CU Denver, if you're in Denver, you have the ability to take classes in person, even if you're just taking it from a non-degree certificate standpoint. And then in terms of our overall experiential education opportunities like the climb, you are considered a student within CU Denver, you have the ability to do that. In terms of, say, the abroad programs, I can talk with you a little bit more specifically about that, just because those are priced a little bit differently. So usually students kind of consider those more of like an experiential opportunity as at the master's level than at the non-degree, but it's absolutely not it's not outside of the realm of possibility for you to take those as classes.
Okay, that'd be really awesome.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
as for like the mentorship, it sounded like Tuneishia, when you were talking about having that interaction with the woman who sat down with you to talk about your business, it did kind of sound like you met maybe once. Are there more like long-term mentorship relationships that you can kind of cultivate, or like programs that you can sign up for where you get matched with someone?
Yeah, so we have, I'll let Tuneishia speak again about it as well. But just to let you know, we have a number of events where students meet with mentors, but then we allow those relationships to kind of develop organically, allowing students access. If you have questions, if you need to speak with an expert about something, you're more than able to do that. And then we can expand those into larger communication opportunities. But Tuneishia, if you want to, Mag, if you guys have any thoughts about that as well, please go ahead.
Yeah, so that interaction led to more. And so I ended up attending a gala because of CU Denver, because of the program, and more relationships have been built. So I have had coffee. I have been introduced to other organizations or other individuals to help mentor me within my business. And so it wasn't a one-time thing. She provided me her contact information so that we could continue speaking and figuring out. And so I happened to be at her for the gala. It was held at her business. And so that was powerful in itself. So it's not a one-time thing. It is what you make it. You can reach out to them and they're going to respond back. And then just understand that they're also running businesses, they're successful. So you may not get a response back like that same day, but they do reach back out. And so, I mean, just to have that network, Claire, is going to be, it's just going to be life changing.
Oh, that's so good to hear. Also that they're willing to connect with you. I think that's a fear that I always have, where they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're just a student. I never want to talk to you again." So,
No,
that's really comforting to hear that.
yeah, no, like literally after like the business or the marketing pitch night, like I was having a conversation and she was like, I want to have coffee with you. And I was like, okay. And then I gave her my contact information. She literally reached out and she's like, hey, I'm out of the country. I'm on vacation. However, she's like, I want to connect you with someone else. And yes, I still owe you like that coffee. So it's like continual, like it doesn't stop, which I was like smiling from ear to ear, like she didn't forget about me. I mean, it just happens. And I'm sure, Max, you had Jung and MP, like I know you can reach out to them and they remember you. That's the thing. It's not like, oh, like people just saying like, oh yeah, hey. It's like, no, I know who you are. Let's talk. So it's not superficial.
That's awesome. I love that.
Wonderful. Any other questions you have, Claire? Will we have Tuneishia and Mag here?
I think that was probably the biggest one. The second one, I guess, would be kind of like your guys' advice for a class that kind of taught more on the foundations of being an entrepreneur in terms of like how to file taxes and what all that looks like how to create your own balance sheets and like managing your own business. That sounded like kind of like your own brand one that maybe you took, but
The biggest one I would recommend with that regard is Entrepreneurial Financial Management, which runs each fall in the second half of the fall. That is a class. I'll send you over a class description of that just so you can see. But that is kind of the accounting finance 101 for entrepreneurs.
oh, okay, awesome. That was the one thing I was concerned about, like what I might miss out if I didn't do like a business degree or something, if they
Sure.
brushed over that in entrepreneurship, but that's good that they have a class.
Well, one thing to think about just with regards to the certificate is, you take those three classes, whatever you decide to take those classes in. If you decide, hey, there's more skill gaps, there's more areas I need expertise and experience in, we go ahead and we can easily slot you into the master's program. So you can take more, or you could just take an additional certificate. So there's a lot of options for you. No immediate pressure of like, hey, you have to take all these classes within the 3-class structure. There's a lot of opportunities for you there.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's great. Yeah, that would be really helpful. Cool. Okay, well, those are pretty much all my questions so far.
I also, I just wanted to add also, I believe,
Yeah.
and you might have said that there was like one that you recommend before the business model development. I'm not sure, but I would even say the business model development class, because that one, like pretty much the whole class, you're building your business plan. So you learn how to build a business plan, but like every week is a different section. It's like, okay, we're working on the executive summary. Now this week we're working on the marketing plan. This week we're working on financials. So you get an overview of the whole thing, and by the end of the class, you have a full business plan that now you're like, oh, okay, I could see how I could recreate this with any business idea I have. So that's the one I would recommend. I feel like if you know what I mean, you don't need to be an expert at nothing at that one. Yeah, he breaks it down so beautifully that it makes it super easy.
That's a great
Okay,
call. Yeah,
awesome.
that class really has you think both from a pitching standpoint, but also like what are the nuts and bolts of setting up a business and a business plan. So lots of really great options. Please don't hesitate to schedule some time on my calendar if you have more questions, Claire. And for anyone else out there who has questions, we are available to talk. And I don't want to take up too much outside of this of Tuneishia and Mag's time, but I would be shocked if they weren't willing to talk with students based on how much they had to say here today. So I'm not scheduling time for you yet, but I know that you guys have a lot to share with students as well. So don't hesitate to reach out, Claire.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm
Thank you
open.
guys so much.
Thank you. And thank you, Tuneishia and Mag, for spending some time with us today and sharing your thoughts. I hope everyone got a ton out of this, and I will be sharing this recording online, so keep an eye out for it. And thank you all so much for the time that you gave us here today. This has been really helpful.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
We'll see you all here soon.
All right.
Have
Bye,
a great-
Tuneishia.
Bye, Max. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, I'll send you an email. We gotta get together sometime.
Absolutely.